Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Today we've got a possible PS5 controller, AMD's next-gen APU gets benchmarked and it's a huge deal, and the 5600 XT is definitely coming. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today we have a render that could very well be Sony's next-gen PS5 controller. For those who don't know, a few days ago, Sony officially announced a PS4 controller add-on that essentially adds two buttons to the back, similar to the functionality you can get from Microsoft's Xbox Elite controller. Let's just say I've actually been waiting for this. Anyway, this led some gamers to wonder about the PS5 controller, and luckily, a patent recently surfaced that's rumored to be for the PS5 controller. This pushed the designer who brought us the possible PS5 dev kit renders to make his own from the patent. As you can see in this animated video, the controller looks a bit bigger than Sony's current PS4 controller. It doesn't have the new back buttons, which may just be coming in a Pro controller or another add-on. They also added a USB-C port, and it's confirmed to have haptic feedback. A major change is the removal of the light bar, which honestly makes sense, even considering the PSVR because it works better with the Move controllers anyway. One thing that's odd to me is the continued use of the PS4 controller's touchpad, because just like Microsoft's failed Kinect, the touchpad was only ever used in a few games after launch. It pretty quickly became nothing but a glorified, unnecessarily large button. Of course, these patents could ultimately end up being an old design or for something else. And while we patiently wait to find out, it's that time of year, which means last-minute gifts. Luckily, protecting your privacy when shopping online is completely free with today's sponsor, Privacy.com, a new tool that lets you create virtual cards for each of your online retailers. That means no one sees your actual card number, and because each card is tied to a specific retailer, if someone steals your virtual card and tries to use it elsewhere, you'll get a notification. Plus, you can control how much is taken out of each card monthly or even total, so you'll never get charged more than you expect. To top all that off, it's not only free, but you get $5 when you visit privacy.com/gamermeld and add your funding source today. Next up, it looks like what I gathered from a recent leak on AMD's next-gen APUs was correct. Ryzen is moving up in cores with their APU lineup. Actually, they could be going even higher than I thought. Let's just say Intel isn't going to like this. Originally found and shared by the same Reddit user who found the last leak, you can see we have a new PC Mark benchmark. In it is the Ryzen 7 4700U. Now, for those who don't know, the current Ryzen 7 3700U comes with a 4-core 8-thread CPU. Moving back to the benchmark, we can see the upcoming 4700U is an 8-core CPU. Oddly enough, it doesn't come with multi-threading, which could mean it's only coming to the i9 lineup, it's just not turned on here, or it's reserved for their H high-power CPUs. Either way, an 8-core CPU is a huge deal, and shows AMD is set to fully utilize their 7nm process. Remember, this is an ultra-low power chip. Intel's own 10nm Ice Lake only gets up to 4 cores and 8 threads. It's their 14nm Comet Lake U parts that go up even higher, and it's only 6 cores and 12 threads. Yes, they do have 8-core mobile chips, but not in a 15-watt envelope. Plus, this new chip gets up to 4.2 GHz. Now, the poster also shared some comparison benchmarks against Intel's 10th gen parts, and as you can see, while it beats the 4-core Ice Lake CPU, the 6-core 12-thread Comet Lake U does pull ahead. And that's led some users to believe that this is actually just a 4-core 8-thread part, but was just misinterpreted by 3D Mark. While that technically could be true, the benchmark seems to suggest otherwise. For one, the 4700U's base clock is lower than AMD's last-gen base clock, which wouldn't make sense if it had the same number of cores. Yes, 3D Mark could have read clocks wrong, but there's no reason to just assume that. Second, this is more for office application type workloads, so higher cores is typically more important. Plus, it takes the GPU into account. Next, the Intel part does have more threads. That in Intel's chip has a higher clock, though it requires jumping much higher than 15 watts when doing so, especially in these short burst type benchmarks. When running for longer times, the clocks get much lower. With that said, AMD does something similar, so we'd really have to run some tests to know for sure. Either way, bringing 8 cores to the ultra low power lineup will be a pretty big jump, and shows AMD plans to get serious in the mobile market next year. Of course, as we've seen, Intel's 12-thread part also isn't anything to scoff at, though with applications like rendering, and if AMD includes a 16-thread CPU, Intel could be in some serious trouble. Lastly for today, while sticking to AMD, we have more proof that the 5600 XT is coming, and probably quite soon. As you can see, Gigabyte has submitted the upcoming GPU to the EEC along with basically every other GPU they offer, and that's actually the more interesting part here. Gigabyte is apparently adding a whole new lineup of GPUs called their Eagle line. I'm really not sure why, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So while that does it for today, what did you think of the news? Excited for next-gen APUs, or what about the upcoming PS5? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to check out privacy.com/gamermeld. And as always, have a great day.